Hey friends, Gary here. Welcome to today's video. Today I'm sharing my 10 micro four thirds lenses that I will choose if I have to start over with micro four thirds camera system. This is just a hypothetical situation. Crossing my fingers, it would never happen, but hopefully this video will be interesting, entertaining, inspiring, and also fun and helpful as well, especially for you who are beginning your journey in micro four thirds camera system. Let's begin with the first lens. First lens is definitely the Panasonic Lumix kit lens, 12 to 32mm f3.5 to f5.6. Now you might be asking, hey Gary, why do you choose that lens? It is only a cheap, plasticky kit lens. It's not really that good. Well, there are a few reasons why I choose this lens. First of all, it's because it comes included with so many different Panasonic Lumix micro four thirds cameras, so you don't have to purchase it separately. And even if you have to purchase it separately, it's not really that expensive, so it's a good investment. Second reason is because of the focal length, 12 to 32. That is very flexible. Moderate wide angle all the way to mild telephoto that can cover about 80% of what you really need for your photography needs. Everyday photography, landscape photography, travel photography, mild portraits, general out and about product photography, street photography. You can cover so many different things with just this one single lens. Granted, the aperture is not that impressive, f3.5 to f5.6, so it cannot really produce that much background blur. But if you zoom it in all the way to 32mm, you can still get a nice, significant amount of background blur, even though it's not gonna be impressive. Image quality surprisingly is very good. Many people think kit lens, oh, it sucks, it's not gonna be sharp, it's not gonna be detailed. Wrong. This lens can produce satisfactory result. Sharpness, detail, contrast, colors, everything to look punchy, everything is more than good enough for your photography needs. So I don't think image quality is an issue with this lens, except if you are encountering some situations where you have to shoot backlights or you have a strong light source in your frame, then maybe you will see just a little bit of flaring and ghosting and some artifacts. Not really a big deal in my opinion, it's very manageable. And also, last but not least, the size. It's very compact, it's very lightweight, it's very easy to pack around, and together with a smaller camera, it can create a nice compact package that will be ready to cover your photography needs. Next lens is the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5. This will be my primary choice for my main prime lens for a few reasons. First of all, the 14mm focal length is surprisingly flexible for a prime lens. Moderate wide angle, but you can do so many stuff with it even though it's not a zoom lens. Everyday photography, travel photography, landscape photography, environmental portrait, street photography, food photography. You can do so many stuff with just this one single lens. The larger f2.5 aperture, even though it's not the largest, it can help a lot to create background blur and also to help you in lower light situation. The small size of the lens and also it's very lightweight makes it very easy also to pack this lens for travel or for everyday photography. And also image quality is fantastic with this lens. Colors do look amazing, everything do look sharp, contrast is more than enough, everything is punchy, and I just love the results coming out from this lens. Last but not least, a very important reason in my opinion is that this lens is so fun to use. I cannot explain it to you. Technically speaking, there's no spec sheet that mentions that this lens is fun, but it is so enjoyable to use when you're out there taking photos. It's so motivating. It makes you want to take more photos and don't want to stop your photography session. I think that's very important reason why I choose this lens. On the other hand, I will also choose the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7 as an alternative to the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5. This lens offers some benefits compared to the 14mm. It has better build quality, it's metal, it has dedicated aperture ring, it has larger f1.7 aperture, and also 15mm is very similar to 14mm. You won't notice that much of a difference in terms of field of view on your photo. So yeah, with the larger f1.7 aperture, you can get better background blur and also better low light performance. In terms of image quality, I won't say that this is better compared to the 14mm. They're just different flavors. I think 14mm is more organic. It has that vintage vibe, especially on the mid-tone area. You see that it is more bright. It has different kinds of contrast profile, whereas with the 15mm, everything looks more modern, everything looks more clinical with a touch of a different vibe, something around the shadow area that makes the contrast looks different and nice. So yeah, different flavors. One is vanilla, one is chocolate. Which one do you choose? But yeah, a great alternative to the 14mm if you have extra budget will be the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7. Next lens is the Panasonic Lumix 20mm f1.7. This lens is to cover the normal focal lengths, 50, 40mm equivalent, 35, that sort of range. I think this is the best for street photography and also for everyday photography and for environmental portrait as well. Compared to both the 14 and 15, this is slightly more zoomed in, so you have more of that pop from your subject, more of that little bit of compression, so your subject can really stand out in the photo. It has large f1.7 aperture that also helps with background blur and also with lower light performance. It is small and lightweight. It's a pancake lens, as you can see, and image quality is very good, just like the Panasonic Leica 15mm. It is sharp, it is contrasty, everything to look nice, colors are amazing, and I just love this lens so much. Also, another fun lens to use. I don't really enjoy this sort of focal length, to be honest with you, but if I need to use a lens of this particular focal length, then the 20mm is my choice and I'm happy with it. Next, let's talk about another great zoom lens, Panasonic Lumix 14 to 140mm f3.5 to f5.6. This is the lens that got me into micro four thirds camera system. This is the king of travel lens, so flexible, anything from moderate wide angle 14mm all the way to 140mm telephoto focal length. You can do it all with just this one lens. Now many people say that super zoom lens is a compromise. No, that is not true. With this guy I can get satisfactory result. Image quality is so nice, so dependable, everything to look sharp, detailed, contrast to look nice, colors look punchy. It's so nice to have this lens for travel photography. It is very dependable. I brought this guy to Iceland and I captured so many of my keeper shots using this super zoom lens. Next lens is my personal favorite. It's the mini telephoto Panasonic Lumix 35 to 100mm f4 to f5.6, the embodiment of the micro four thirds original spirit back during the golden era of micro four thirds. Small, lightweight, not too expensive, but excellent image quality. That's exactly what this lens is. So 35 to 100 is equivalent to 70 to 200 in full frame terms, and I think that's an excellent focal length range for a telephoto lens. You can do so much with this guy, especially for travel photography, distant landscape photography. This lens really excels in that particular area. And also it is another fun lens to use, my own personal favorite. This lens motivates me to take so many photos. I took so many of my keeper shots using the 35 to 100. I think I'm so happy with this lens, and if I have to start over again, this definitely needs to be one of my first lenses that I acquired again. Next lens is this little gem right here, the Olympus 45mm f1.8. Such a small, compact, little portrait lens, but it packs a lot of punch. First of all, image quality, you don't have to worry at all. 45mm will produce satisfactory result. Of course, this is the best for portrait photography in my opinion. The focal length will produce enough compression, and f1.8 will give you that background blur. 45 is still very manageable in my opinion. You don't have to stand back too far from your subject to get a nice working distance between your camera and your subject. So yeah, this is my secret weapon for portrait. It's easy to carry around because the lens is small, the image quality is very dependable, and it's also fun to use as well. Look at this guy. Don't you want to take it outside and take some photos with it? Next lens on this list is a little bit of a wild card, and it's this guy right here, Olympus 75mm f1.8. Now this is a wild card for several reasons. First of all, it is big, heavy, chunky. It is also expensive, and the focal length is not exactly easy to use. But why did I put it on today's list? It's because this lens is absolutely massively fun to use. You know, once you start to use it, especially on the right opportunity, oh my god, this lens is so fun. It's so satisfying to use. The tactility of using this lens is unmatched with the other lenses in my collection. And also, images captured using this guy, when you're able to nail everything perfectly, oh my god, the result just looks stunning. Portraits captured using this guy will look dreamy and also satisfying at the same time. Distant landscape, this lens can do it as well. You know, 75 is not easy. I have to be honest with you, especially for portrait. You have to stand back really far from your subject, and that's not an ideal working distance. But if you have the opportunity, again, to use this lens correctly, woo, this is the king of portrait lens in my opinion. It is so fun, it is so enjoyable, makes me want to shoot more and more with this lens. Next lens is ultra wide angle, Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7. I think this is the only wide angle lens that I need for my micro four thirds system should I start over, because with the 9mm focal length I can already cover all sorts of different kinds of ultra wide angle needs. Also, it has large f1.7 aperture. That's very important, especially for low light situation. I brought this guy also to Iceland last year to capture some beautiful northern light photos. This worked wonderfully well, and I'm satisfied with the result. It's not really that big, it's not really that heavy. Also, price wise, even though it has that Leica name on it, it's not terribly expensive, so I can still tolerate it, and I think this is a good addition for a wide angle lens should you start over with micro four thirds, or if you're just beginning micro four thirds. 9mm is surprisingly very flexible as an ultra wide angle focal length. Yes, it can do all the classical ultra wide angle stuff, but when you get close, you can still do a little bit of environmental portrait with it. You can still also do a little bit of product photography, close up, that kind of stuff. You can still do it with 9, so surprisingly, it is very flexible. Image quality, no doubt with the Leica name, that means everything is sharp, contrasty, everything looks nice and punchy. You don't have to worry at all about image quality with the Panasonic Leica 9mm. Last but not least, 7 Artisans 10mm f3.5, another ultra wide angle lens on today's video. So I think this is a great alternative to the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7, or even a great addition. You can have both as well, no problem at all. So I think this is a fantastic option compared to the Panasonic Leica 9mm for a couple of reasons. First of all, Although the Panasonic Leica 9mm is not too expensive, I mean it is still cheaper compared to some lenses in today's video, the 7 Artisans 10mm f3.5 is actually an ultra budget lens. For about $100 you already get an ultra wide angle lens with f3.5 aperture. That's fantastic. Second of all, although the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7 it's not too big and also not too heavy, this guy is even smaller and lighter. So I think the 7 Artisans 10mm is for people who are looking for an ultra wide angle lens that won't break the bank, or maybe something that they can use for people who don't really enjoy using ultra wide angle lens. They need an ultra wide angle lens but they don't want to invest too much in it. I think this is a great choice. So yeah, although this is ultra budget, it doesn't mean that the image quality is inferior. Actually, everything captured with this lens do look sharp and contrasty, colors do look okay and nice for an ultra budget lens. Nothing offending in my opinion. And the other glaring elephant in the room is the manual focus. It's not autofocus lens, so you have to be comfortable with manual focus. I don't think it's a big problem because it's an ultra wide angle lens. Everything will be in focus anyway. You will have to adjust your focusing minimally, not a big problem. Or if you are scared with manual focus, just set the aperture to f8 or f11 and everything will be in focus anyway. So not a big problem and a great respectable lens as well. So those are all of the 10 lenses that I choose if I need to start over with my Micro Four Thirds camera system. Hopefully this has been interesting, entertaining, fun, inspiring and helpful as well. But enough about me. What about you? What lenses that you will choose if you need to start over with Micro Four Thirds or any of camera system that you are using? Please share down below. I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you. I always enjoy reading your comments. But anyway, that wraps up today's video. Please don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. And if you want to support my work even further, which I will appreciate so much, consider joining my Patreon membership. Check out my latest travel photography video course called Simplifying Travel Photography. Use the affiliate links down below or use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.